And by the way, when we're distracted, we sicken Christ. That's the projectile vomiting for a while. We can behave in such a way we make Christ sick. It's a horrible thing to think about. I mean, even vomit is horrible. I was leaving, poor Bonnie was walking with me, and we were leaving Word of Life, Florida, walking through the airport to our gate to come to Word of Life, New York. And of course, I was looking for my boarding pass. I was pulling my my rollerboard bag, and I was looking for my boarding pass. I could see out there that no people were in front of me, so I just kept walking. And all of a sudden, this other business traveler took his phone and went like that in front of me. And I looked up, and he said, and I looked down, someone in the terminal had vomited. It was horrible, you know what it looks like. Splatted 5 feet wide. I mean, it was just, and I was just merrily walking. And wasn't it sweet? That and Bonnie was over out of range, so he didn't flag her down. She was looking for her boarding pass too. And we were going like this, and he stopped me from walking through that. See, even people that don't know you or even care about you just don't want you to be around vomit. Do you know we should avoid at all cost being distracted from what God saved us to be and sickening Christ so that he wants to spit us out? It's whatever that means, spit us out, is not positive. We don't pursue Christ when we float away, we become miserable and blind. When you are turned around in your canoe at salvation and are supposed to paddle away from the darkness in the world, when we don't, Jesus said, you're miserable and blinded. Loving obedience, verse 18, is the only source of true and endless wealth. Look what Jesus says. I counsel you, buy from me gold refined in the fire, that you may be rich, white garments, that you may be clothed, the shame of your nakedness may not be revealed, and anoint your eyes with salve so that you may see. What were the 3 industries of Laodicea? Gold, banking, refining, all that stuff. These amazing wool outfits, kind of like being from, wherever in Italy the fashion is. What is that, up in the north? Whatever that city is, the capital of fashion in Italy. And the ophthalmological stuff. He quotes all of them. See, when these people heard this letter written, they're going, boy, he wrote that to me. And they really understood. But look what Jesus is saying. He says, I counsel you, if you'll obey me. How do we obey Jesus? Because we love him. Loving obedience is the only source of true and endless wealth. But, verse 19, as many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. I talked about chastening yesterday. Remember I read you Hebrews 12? You know what chastening is? Spanking. Do you know what our culture is opposed to now? Spanking. And there's a lot of abuses. And a lot of people were, horribly beaten in an improper way. But spanking is in the scriptures. Not only is it part of the chastening and discipline that parents are to administer in the love of God and in his reflection to their children, but it's what the scriptures say, true children of God get spanked by Jesus Christ. What is that? He chastens us. He makes us feel detached from him when we are. He makes us find life blurry. Do you know, I meet a lot of young people, they say, I just don't know what the Lord's will is. Well, it's as clear as day if you obey the simple things that he said in his word. Are you saved? Are you spirit-filled? Are you submissive? You start going down the line of what he has already said is his will. The scriptures say 7 times this is the will of God. Most Christians, remember I showed you that list? Most Christians don't even know those 7. And they go around, I don't know what the will of the Lord is. What they mean is they don't know which job they should take and how much they should get paid for it. They're not talking about the will of God. The will of God is simple, that we live as normal Christians, healthy Christians, living for Christ. And if we don't, Jesus spanks us. So what's the solution to all this? Well, look at verse 20. Jesus said, Behold, I stand at the door and knock. You know, there's a tremendous, Holman Hunt is an artist. Holman Hunt painted a picture that every one of you have probably seen. It's the picture of Jesus, just typical looking Jesus, standing at this old wooden door, and he's knocking. That's Holman Hunt's famous picture of Jesus knocking. This is what it's based on, verse 20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I'm going to come into him and dine with him and he with me. What this is saying is that every day Jesus wants us to invite him into each of our days. That's why I said we all should have a sacred vow that every day, the very greatest, most important, most just fantastic moment of the day is when I invite Jesus into my day. He wants to come in. Did you know all day long he's waiting? How many days have you left him out of being invited into your day? I don't mean having your devotions. I mean seeking him. See, one is mechanical. I go through this, I do this, I fill in, I do what I'm supposed to do. You want to know what Jesus is looking for? As soon as I say, God bless you and have a wonderful break, what happens all over this room? Have you noticed? Young men get up, they almost trip over the chairs. Some of them run on the arms of the chairs, and they get over and they spend the entire break gazing into the eyes. I think they're training to be ophthalmologists or something. They're looking into the eyes of these young ladies. You know, they might want to be eye doctors, I'm not sure, but they're sure interested in getting as close as they can and gazing into their eyes. You understand? Have any of you seen that? Are any of you involved in that? I mean, as soon as you hear that bell, you're getting ready to spring, and as soon as you have a break, do you feel at all that way about Christ? Or is that weird? Healthy Christians feel that way about Christ. Now, that's not all they do. They've got their AirPods in, and when they pull up to the drive-thru, they go, yep, thank you. They're still involved in life. They know what's going on. They do what they're supposed to do. But when they have a moment, they come back, inviting Jesus into their day.